whoever played that committed the cardinal freaking sin of not using their middle finger. Who does that? Hi there, I'm Chris. And I did that because I played that. And I did it for a good reason, and you should too. Today we'll be speaking about fingering, and we'll try to kind of go past the generic beginner's advice that's out there, and instead hone in on the stuff that really matters once you're past the beginner stage. On top of that, we'll be playing a pretty cool riff. So let's go. Is that a bad rule? No, it's a pretty decent rule to start with, because what that does, it basically prevents you from doing this. You know? So, it's smart to use your 4 fingers, right? You don't just want to be doing silly stuff with 1 finger. And that's tempting in the beginning, you know? All fingers feel weak, and if, the index finger feels a little bit better, then yeah, let's use that all the time. And that's a bad idea, and hence why this, 1 finger per fret advice is out there. And there are lots of scenarios where this is the way to do it, of course. There's equally as many scenarios where you shouldn't assign 1 finger per fret. And what we're playing today is a good example of that. This simple riff, you'd think that, well, it's so easy, you could as well just follow that generic advice. You'd be safe in doing that. And in a way, yeah, if you don't have any better strategy, just follow that advice and see if it works. Sure. But the reason I'm not playing it like this is precisely because what happened there. I had to drop my thumb quite a bit to do that. And I don't like dropping my thumb unless I really need to. So in other words, unless there's a stretch going on, or anything that's tricky to reach. It could be a chord as well. That's when I drop my thumb. But I prefer not doing it, and for a very simple reason. This posture, you can see that, is not at all as relaxed as the one which involves the thumb being somewhere on top here. And you can quite easily prove that simply by holding your hand like this for a minute. See how that feels? This would be the classical posture where you drop your thumb and, the correct way of doing it, as opposed to holding your hand like this, which is my suggested method. And you're quickly going to realize that this is the natural posture. This is not. I'm sorry, all you classical guitarists out there. It's not natural. Lots of application, yes. But if you have the choice, it's always better to have a relaxed posture, especially if you dream of shredding someday. Okay, so I see no reason, even when playing a simple riff, why I would adapt a more strained posture. So I didn't, hence the fingering here. If you still don't understand what we're speaking about, I don't blame you. I'm kind of addressing the hundreds of comments I received about, using the wrong finger. But here's the deal. With this riff, I chose to play the A5 chord here with the index finger on the 2nd fret, and then I played the single notes, which are on the 3rd fret. I played that with my 3rd finger. Now, that generic beginner rule would advise me to use my middle finger here, but I didn't. I used my ring finger. That allowed me to have 2 fingers on 1 string. What? Is that a thing? And why would you do that? Nobody told me about that. Okay. Well, here's the deal. If you notice the riff, it actually ends with the bend there. Albeit a micro bend, and it's a small bend, but it's still a bend. And when I bend, here's a good generic rule for you. Then you want to use several fingers. That's pretty much always superior. Whenever you can use several fingers to bend, it's a good thing to do. Even if it's just a tiny bend, gives you more control, and it allows you to be more relaxed. So even if you could theoretically bend with just 1 finger, that would cause a little bit more strain. Does that matter? Maybe not. But if you're playing like me all the time and you're constantly exposing your hand to stuff, every way you can decrease tension is going to be beneficial. So yeah, it matters in the end. Small stuff matters. There's a reason why you're going to find more experienced guitarists speak about stuff you've never thought about, because that stuff matters in the end. And here's an example. It would be kind of silly to use my middle finger here. Not only would that give me less control in my bending, it would give me a more strained posture. and it would suck, you know? So I don't do it, and you shouldn't either. So that's pretty much my main message for today. But I also want to give you a little hint about what this riff is about. I'm going to give you a link to it so you can check the tab for free on my Patreon. But here it is. So what I'm doing here is a super ZZ Top inspired riff. Some people have told me it's pretty much the riff. I don't know, but you know, it's a cool riff, and it's based around. Well, I play it with hybrid picking. So pick on the A string, and then I pluck two strings, the D and the G string, with two fingers on the right hand. And that gives me like a piano style attack where I play both notes at the exact same time. You could probably do with an upstroke, you know, that's fine as well. That's not the way I play it. So pick, hybrid fingers, and then you can kind of hit the strings without playing them. And what that does, it's going to help you identify the downbeat. And I do that while simultaneously positioning my hybrid fingers so they're ready to strike again on the upbeat. So that's kind of important. It helps me play on time. So when I nodded my head, that was a downbeat, and the upbeat is when I pluck the strings. That's in essence the tricky part with this riff. But check out the tab in the description below, and you can have a lot of fun with that. So I want to thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you think I haven't been too goofy, but it's always a bit inspiring, not to say triggering, when you get these thousands of comments saying the same thing. And, you know, I don't want to write a whole page of explanation for every comment. It's just weird. So here's a video for you where I explain my view on the fingering here and pretty much any fingering. Thank you for watching. You've been wonderful. I've been Christopher Dahl.